It is a big day on the Endless Hustle. First of all, it's my birthday today, and I'm joined by someone who just celebrated his birthday. Although I have almost a decade on you, Kamaru Usman, but you have more championship belts, so we'll call it even.
Happy birthday, by the way. For
Thanks,
sure.
man. And
Happy
the
birthday.
same to you. Congrats. You're coming off an absolutely electric fight. You are now the pound for pound best fighter in MMA. You are the welterweight champion. Life isn't too shabby, is it?
It isn't. It isn't, but it's one of those things to where I can't really dive into and soak up too much because that X on my back just got a whole lot bigger. So as I have to basically still be on my P's and Q's and definitely make sure that I don't slip at all, because now I know everyone's gunning for me, which they've been gunning for me for a while, but it's even bigger now.
So walk me through. You obviously have this incredible performance with Masvidal. How much time do you actually get to celebrate? Do you get to party for a few nights, or are you right back in the gym?
I would love to be able to do that. And the crazy thing is, it's part of, I guess it's part of what keeps me going is I think about that before the fight. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to be able to party. I can't wait to be able to just hang out and eat food and lay around all day. I can't, that's my party. That's really what drives me, is that being the ability to just lay down on the couch and eat whatever I want and just hang out all day. But that's very short lived. As soon as I get home, I'm a victim of the game. I'm a victim of the game, because as soon as I get home, I'm on the couch literally for maybe a day, and take my daughter to school, pick her up from school, hang out, eat. Then I'm like, wow, well, what's going on? I'm kind of bored, I drop her off the next day and I'm really bored. I'm like, all right, let me just go in the gym and see what's going on in there. And then I end up hitting the bag. I end up training, getting a good hard sweat. Next thing you know, I'm calling my manager, hey, so what are you thinking? And so it's very short-lived. I wish I had more time to actually go home and just sit at home and do nothing. But right now that I'm able to still do this and perform, I got to take advantage of it.
You're a victim of the craft. You're a victim of your
Absolutely.
own excellence. And I love that. There are certain people that you can see are going to be champions or top competitors for a long time. You're one of those, because some people rise to the top, but then the partying and the fame overtakes them. But just to hear you have that answer, you're going to be doing this for a long time. When did this become an obsession for you? When did you realize that wrestling, MMA, this would become your life?
I think the summer of my junior year, going into my senior year in high school. That's really the time where I made the decision that I was going to be good at this. I My junior year, I did okay, and I didn't make it to the regional tournament, and then the state tournament. I didn't make it there, and it kind of hurt me a little bit, because I wanted it, because that was the highest thing in high school. That was the first time I set a goal for something that I wanted, and I actually kind of cared about it. And then after that, I said, well, what do I need to do? What is the only thing that I can do in order for me to make sure that next year I achieve that? I become the state champion in high school. And it was go to camps, wrestle through the summer. And so I started doing that. I went to camps and they were okay. But how do I get better at those camps? How do I get better in the camps? How do I do this? How do I get better at that? And I started watching videos. I started studying, doing some research, and seeing that guys run, guys do this type of training, guys. And I'm just like, all right, if that guy that was very good, he did that, I'm doing it too. So I just kind of started doing certain things. And over time, it just kind of started to be this slow inclination that I was winning some of those matches that were tough, that were seen very, very tough before. They weren't that tough anymore. I started to get through that. Then at that point, that summer, I came back and I realized I wanted it. I said, I want this. I really want this. And that's when I discovered setting a goal and actually doing whatever it took to achieve that goal.
When did you realize you were elite? Because there's got to be a moment where you're just like, I'm not just good at this, I'm a champion.
I still don't think that. It's funny. I still don't think that. I watch certain people, like my teammate Rose Namajunas. I watch her train, and I'm just like, wow, she's elite. She's good at this. And they say that about me, but I'm like, I'm not that good at this. I'm my biggest fan, but at the same time, I am my biggest critic. To where I still, honestly, I still don't think that I'm elite at this. But I see certain people, and I'm like, they're elite. So I think it's got me to this point with that attitude. I'm gonna keep that and see how far I can go with it.
This is the curse of all great people in any profession. Joan Rivers, one of the greatest comedians of all time, talks about how every day she was worried about getting her next job. It's that mentality that drives you. Are you worried each and every day? Like, is it over for me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Each and every day, each and every fight, I'm worried about that. I go into the fight, I'm thinking, oh man, this guy said he was gonna baptize me. Oh crap. Can he baptize me? Is he gonna baptize me? How's this gonna go? I worry about that all the time. To even the first time I fought him in Fight Island, I was in my room before getting picked up to go to the arena for the fight. And it was probably the most nervous I've ever been. I'm sitting in my room and I'm thinking, wow, I just watched this on Sports Center. This guy said he was going to baptize me. He said he was going to knock me out unconscious. Oh my God. I was afraid. I was worried. I was shocked. But I had to hold on that. I'm just like, all right, just breathe through it and smile through it and just go out there and let your body take over. And that's what I try to do each and every time, because I am worried that each fight could be my last fight.
I'm absolutely blown away. So this is the first time we've ever spoken. You are an assassin in the octagon. I mean, you're a genetically engineered human designed to kill people pretty much physically. To see you speak right now, how soft-spoken, how humble, how relaxed you are, it feels like I'm witnessing two different people. Is there a switch for you? And how do you engage that switch where you go from calm, peaceful Kamaru Usman to I'm going to destroy you, Kamaru Usman?
It's funny that I was just talking about that. I think I was always um, the athlete, the trained fighter or wrestler, and that was it. That's what I always did. I always wanted to do, and I was always on, to where it didn't smile much. I was always on, and it wasn't until my daughter came that, and it took a little bit. She became a couple months old. It was just like, wow. I would walk in a room and her eyes were on me the whole time. And I'm just like, I'd walk around and she would just follow me, to where now I'm getting older. She's looking at me. She lays on me. And she broke me to the point where she can flip that switch just like that. When I can be, that's the thing with me, is I can train in, and when I go out for fights, I'm nervous, of course, but the closer I get to that octagon, the more grand I get, the more confident I get. My emotions and this giant builds on the inside. And then you will see there's a moment before I cross into the octagon. I would stay there, I would say my prayers. Then once I cross that threshold into the octagon, I am the Nigerian Nightmare. This is my octagon. I am the king of that arena. And you see it. I flip that. I can transform and be that guy. And then my daughter is literally the only person in the world that can come through and just turn it off like that instantly. Flip. And you see it in the last fight. After the fight, I'm just, the adrenaline and the testosterone is just pouring out of me as I don't even remember what I was doing. At one point, I remember I was at the top of the cage. I was over the cage. I was walking around, and then I was back in the cage, and I was beating on my chest at one point like King Kong, and next thing I know, I turn around, she's right in front of me, and I just boom, get all mellow and mushy, and she just killed it. And that's the effect that she has on me. But she gets Kamaru Usman daddy all day. But when we're training and I step inside that octagon, they get the Nigerian Nightmare.
That's awesome. I want to talk to you about your relationship with your father, because it's obviously been well publicized, and essentially, to put it in perspective, you fight for him, and to see you put that belt around your father's waist after this last fight was just such a humbling and magical moment.
It's one of those, it's how you kind of grow up, and it's what you see, what the circumstances and the things that you witness that basically creates that bond. And with my father, I just, he worked so hard all through his life in order to be able to ensure that we have the opportunities that we have. Had my father not taken the risks and the things that he did, that he not gone to school and studied and trained to where he was able to make a living for us or bring us to this country, and it was, I don't know where we would be. And so all of that is what makes him a great man, and him giving us the opportunity, that giving us the chance to be able to live this life, to achieve what I've achieved. I have to be thankful, and I have to be grateful and gracious in that. And, for me, this is the pursuit of happiness here, is being able to now return that favor, being able to make my dad smile and proud, giving him this overwhelming joy that he can't explain. And it's, hopefully I get to feel that one day with my daughter. So I think that that's one of the biggest things for us athletes, is being able to give our family and our parents and our fathers that overwhelming joy that they just can't help it. They can't explain it.
When I see the shape you're in, it is mind blowing. You literally do not look human, and I mean that in the best possible way. I could eat perfectly, work out like an animal, and I'm not looking like you. What's your nutrition and fitness regimen like?
Part of that, I would have to say, I have to thank mom and dad for for the genetics. But my fitness and nutrition is something that's I've really worked on for years and years. It's not just, it didn't happen yesterday. It's not one of those things where I take a year off and then it's like, all right, I need to diet, I need to get in shape. I have to constantly be in shape, because I have to be ready to compete at any given time. And I would tell you a secret. One of the biggest fears for me, and I would say one of the biggest motivators for me, is that feeling of having to get back into shape is so bad for me, to where I'd rather be in shape. I'd rather deal with the pain of being in shape all year round. Because when you have to work back from scratch to get to that point where you are actually in shape, it is the worst. It is the worst. And so I definitely, I would say, I think that feeling is more of a deterrent for me, to why I have to stay in shape, in some sort of shape.
What's the eating like? What is the daily regimen, the weekly regimen look like?
Now the it's not bad. I guess when I really start to, when I've seen a lot of friends and dissected certain things, to where now I realize my eating is necessarily not that bad. For me, where I consider it's not the greatest, but it's still not that bad. Mostly what I eat is carbohydrates, like rice, pasta, but chicken and turkey, clean, like lean meats and things like that. I'm not a big sweets guy. I never have been. I will say though, with age, I'm starting to like chocolate chip cookies a little bit more. That's starting to be a thing now. But as far as like dessert and cakes and pies and things like that, I'm not a fan. I never really liked candy or those things. And I just not really into oily and fried stuff all the time. And so by me eating the way that I do, it makes it a lot easier for me to have to get in shape when I need to, even though it's still painful and I don't want to do it. I that's a thing for me, is it makes it a lot easier for me than someone who does indulge in some of those other donuts and things like that.
I want to talk to you about Africa, because growing up, to look at the athletes that made it from Africa, my age, it was like Manute Bol, it was Hakeem Olajuwon. There were a few here and there, but to see what's happened now, you and Ngannou, now you have Giannis in the NBA, you have Bol Bol. There's so many now elite athletes that come from Africa, Joel Embiid, what has been the reaction on the continent to the success that people like you and Ngannou are bringing there?
I'm all I can sum it up to and say that I'm blessed to be in this time and era to be able to witness this. Nowadays, it's very rare for someone to say, oh, they're the first to do anything, or that they were part of something so special and so great. So to be in this time and in this era, it means a lot. I mean, I'm looking at guys like I actually last weekend I got the chance to meet Andre Iguodala for the first time, and Giannis and Thanasis, his brother, and got a chance to meet with them and hang out and actually watch them perform. It's special. It's very special. Sometimes I don't even feel like it's real. I got to pinch myself. Like, are we really in this? Are we doing this right now? Is this real? Are we in this present day and time to witness a these great athletes all across the board? And of course, someone like Francis Ngannou, for someone like that to be able to have that much incredible power, it is mind blowing. And I am humbled each and every time I am around each and every one of them, whether it's Israel Adesanya, whether it's the Bastianis and Thanasis and Joel Embiid and all these guys. I am blessed. I am a fan, and I'm just blown away to be able to see how well these guys do what they do and how much they are motivating the world.
There's a great picture on social media of you standing next to Giannis. And people do not realize, it's easy to see him on TV, but when you see him in real life, what was your reaction seeing him in real life for the first time?
That doesn't look real. Like that's a real person. I mean, it's like, how are you that big? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, there's no way you like. I grew too, but you came out of your mother. Like, how are you this big? I don't understand it. And some of these guys, I'm amazed by how big they are and how coordinated they are and how much of athletes they can be. It's impressive. And it just, the human body is something, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing.
Does he geek out over you? Because you essentially at this point have now become an A-list sports celebrity yourself. Is there a geek out from Giannis and like, holy shit, I just met Usman?
I don't know. I think I get that a little bit more from his brother, because me and his brother have kind of been in touch here and there before, through social media and text and things like that. So to actually see them and meet him, I think his brother gave me more of that. But Giannis, I mean, and it was a day before a game, so he was probably reserved and probably his mind was on the game. But some people do that. Some I've had some athletes, some basketball players do that, and it's humbling to me every single time. It's like, oh, me? And they're like, bro, can I get a picture with you? I'm just blown away, and I'm in awe each and every time having to witness that. So I don't know. I don't know if Giannis felt like that, but I mean, for me, I was definitely grateful to be able to meet him and his brother Thanasis. I think they're incredible athletes. That whole family are incredible athletes. And yes, we definitely bonded, and we're, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship and relationship that is going to blossom into something special.
I remember when I read that ESPN story on you and your dad, I think it was last year, and just you requesting not to do pay-per-view fights so that your dad could be able to watch it while he was in prison. When you realize the impact you had on the people around your dad inside of that prison, what goes through your mind knowing that a whole prison was watching you fight?
Once again, it's that pursuit of happiness for me. It's the moment I learned visiting my father. I mean, the first couple times I visited him, it was, of course, he's there, and no one really knew me. Of course, I'm sure my dad would talk about, yeah, my son's an athlete and this and that, but they, those guys don't necessarily care or believe. They're like, yeah, everyone says that, and then I figure out, oh, well, you guys get to watch these channels here. And he's like, yeah, we watch that fighting thing that you do, that MMA, it's on here. People watch that. People are fans of that here. So I'm like, oh, okay. Light bulb went off. So fast forward to where I finally got the opportunity to do the show, The Ultimate Fighter, which happened to be on that channel. And I'm like, oh my God, my dad gets to watch this. Yes. All right. So I go out there and I do the show. Then the next time after the show, I go and visit my father. There's a line, like some of the inmates there and some of the people that were there, friends of my dad, they were, their families were there as well. So they had notified, my father had notified them that I was coming. So they had notified their families that I was coming. So basically I was in there taking pictures with their families. And I'm like, and the joy that I could see that my father gets from that, being able to make other people happy and me being able to make them happy just by something as simple as taking a picture with them and talking to them, letting them meet me, letting them touch me. It was monumental for me to let me know that I was doing the right thing. And to this day, which is why each and every fight I had, the first thing I would ask is that on regular, what channel, is that on cable TV or is that on network? Like, can my dad watch this? And my manager was like, yep, it's on Fox. He can watch that. I'm like, all right, I'm in there. I'm doing it. If it was on if it was pay-per-view, no, I'm not really interested. Or if it was on Fight the internet channel, no, I'm not really interested. I want to do it on Fox to where my father can watch this.
That's awesome. So Conor was just named the highest paid athlete in the world. And you think about the list, you have Ronaldo, you have LeBron. For Conor to top that list tells you how far the UFC and MMA has come, and also the branding and business opportunities that come outside of the sport. Now, I've had Chuck Liddell on the show. I've had George St. Pierre, who's now on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. To see what this sport allows you to now create outside of it is incredible. And it's only getting bigger and bigger. So now that you've become this mainstream star, what are the opportunities for you that are opening up? Is the phone ringing for movie roles, for endorsements? Like, what happens now?
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities are endless. It's just learning how to maximize them in the right way. And that's what now my team is working very hard on, is because you can't say yes to everything. There's only so much time that you have. You just have to be able to make sure that you're saying yes to the right things and not no or not saying yes to the wrong things that will waste time. And that's why I trust my team in being able to do. But yes, I am grateful and blessed that a lot of doors have been opened to where now I'm getting that opportunity to be able to do different things. Because to be honest, I don't want to be punched in the face for the rest of my life. I don't necessarily want to do that forever. And so now having this sport elevate me to a place where I'm shown to the masses and I can do other things. Like, I like to sell shoes. Nike, I could sell shoes. I could do that. I like to, be in movies and do things like that. So we are getting those opportunities, and I'm just grateful. I'm just blessed to be in this time.
Is there something that's like on the dream list, like an actor you want to work with, an athlete you want to do a commercial with? What's kind of that bucket list item for you?
That's a good question. I haven't necessarily really thought of that. But of course, I mean, you're talking about an actor. Of course, I would love to do something with Denzel Washington. Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Denzel Washington. I'm talking Idris Elba. I would love to do a movie or something like that with these men, because these are men that I look up to in that world. And then, of course, I mean, commercial, doing something with Michael Jordan and doing something with LeBron and doing these guys. These are some of the biggest superstars that you're growing up and you're watching and you're seeing, and you want to be like. And getting that opportunity to actually do that, mind blowing. And I can't wait.
I always love talking to elite athletes about what sports they love outside of their own sport. The one that always gets touched on is golf. So I'm like, I wonder if you play golf. Do you have any love for golf or no?
I have very, very much respect and admiration for it, because a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is. And I just recently found out how difficult it is. And by it being that difficult, it makes me want to sink my teeth in it further. And so it's definitely one of those things to where I want to get better at and I want to learn. But I would say my favorite is track and field. I love track and field. I love watching the explosion of these guys and men and women actually show how fast and how explosive they are in the world of track and field. And that I would say absolutely by far my favorite sport to watch is track and field.
That's fascinating. That's like not one you hear often. I was like thinking, I'm like, if I could give you a dream golf experience, what would you want to do? Like, would you want to play with somebody? Is there a course? Do you know about the Masters? Like,
I do know. Obviously, I would say just playing. Obviously, I'd have to learn how to play first. And if I got okay enough to be able to playing 18 holes with Tiger Woods and talking with him and just getting to know his mind is one that I definitely will put on that bucket list because, and thanks to Michael Jordan actually opening up his mind to sharing with us when we watched the documentary, The Last Dance, that you got to, obviously learn a little bit more about inside his mind and how he approached the game. So I'm very thankful for that. I think, Tiger Woods, golf, when he comes in that realm of golf, Tiger Woods being able to just play 18 holes with him and just be open, free, and really indulge in his mind. I think that you can pay. I don't think there's an amount of money that I could pay for something like that.
that's fascinating. Like, what would you want to know? You're a champion yourself. And it's funny because you make it to the top of the mountain and to hear you still want to learn more because I'll never be as good at something as you are at what you do. But every time you talk to somebody who's that good, they tell you it's all up here. It's more than this, it's this. What would you want to hear from someone like Tiger Woods about how to become even greater?
I think it's at the highest level. There's not a lot that separates everyone. It's a razor sharp, razor thin that separates the first from 15th place. And some of those guys just have it and they know it. And for me, it's partially getting confirmation from those guys that this is exactly how you feel in certain times, in certain places. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is I want to know that what I feel is normal. So I want to know that what I feel, they felt, and they know how to persevere through that. I think that right there, that affirmation, that reassurance is something that you can't buy. It doesn't matter who it is. If it's you, it could be your mom or your dad telling you like, you're going to win. You're going to be the best. Just do this, you do that. It's going to work. It's not the same as someone who has done it at the highest level telling you that. It's not the same. And I think that definitely is what I would want to learn, is just basically knowing in his mind, him letting me know that what you feel is normal. I felt that too. That right there is priceless for me.
Tiger obviously battled his own demons, and fame was a big part of that. When you see the Tiger documentary on HBO, you see how hard it is to not understand what normality is. Fame is hard, man. I interview the biggest stars in all genres on the planet, and I always tell people fame is freaking hard. You seem so level-headed. How are you able to kind of keep the shield around you as now this fame is seeping in?
Yeah, you touched on it perfectly. It's hard. It's very, very difficult. For me, this was never really the goal. This was never really the plan. I never really wanted fame. If you gave me an option, take fame over the money, I would take the money every time. I would rather be in a room I would rather be the richest one in the room and have no one know it than be the most known person in the room and not have money. And that's just kind of from the thing, how I roll. I never wanted to be famous. That was never the driving force behind what I was doing. I just wanted to be the best at it. And now it's more than just being the best. Now you get to that point and everyone knows who you are. And it's so consuming because everybody wants a piece of that. Everyone is chasing that in the field in every way. Whether it's a guy that works at a desk, he wants to be the best in that office. For most people, that's what they want. They want to be recognized as the best in the office and as the best in their field, whatever they're doing. And so when they see someone who is considered the best, they want to take a little bit of that energy. I guess, which is partially why I would love to play with Tiger Woods. He's considered the best at that. I want a little piece of that energy. You know, that's attractive to people. People just want to touch you. People want to feel that energy. And that's hard because you have to you're giving that energy away. You give so much away to where when you come home at the end of the day, it's just like, I have nothing left for myself. I'm just drained. Then you become kind of a prisoner of that fame. I don't really necessarily like to go out much, which is a good thing for me, which is kind of what helps me. Is I was never really the guy who I wanted to be out and about and things like that. I was always a homebody. Now I'm really a homebody because it doesn't matter where you go, where I step into,
They see
someone's going to see you. Someone's going to come up. Someone's going to say something. And of course, and it's not just hard for me, it's hard for the family too, because if I'm trying to spend time with my girlfriend and my daughter and we're somewhere and we're eating, we're engaged in the conversation, a great conversation, and all of a sudden 3 people come up, hey champ, right in the middle of your conversation, can I get a picture with you? Hey, I love you in this. And of course people just want to have their conversation, which is nothing wrong with that. You know, it's not every day that people see someone that they idolize or that they, you know, see if someone that's famous. And so they just want that time, that energy. And so now I have to give them that energy, and it takes away from my family. So it's extremely difficult. And I still can't even imagine what someone like Tiger Woods had to go through or Michael Jordan had to go through, because I watched their stories and I'm just like, what I have to deal with is nothing compared to what these guys have to deal with.
And Mike Tyson, another one, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, and this is the thing with me is I like to think that I hide sometimes in plain sight. I still try to go to the grocery. I go to the grocery store by myself sometimes. And I'm being in the grocery store. Of course, I have a hat on and maybe glasses, and I still get noticed. And then people but most of the time people will walk by and just, I don't know, it's normal. Because I'm not physically like,
you're not a monster.
Face.
Yeah, you're not a monster.
I'm not a Francis Ngannou. I'm still somewhat normal and regular. So where people can kind of walk by me and go, oh, he's fit. Just walk by. But when people do realize, and they're like, oh, and people they give me that double take, that look. Nah. But I've had people come up, what are you doing here? I'm like, just shopping, just getting groceries. They're like, you shop? You do this? I'm like, yeah, I shop too. I do this. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this. You're shopping, you do groceries. I'm like, yeah, I'm still kind of normal.
Like I go to the bathroom, I put my pants on, I do all the stuff you guys do. Don't worry.
I do those things too. And it's always humbling to me to be able to see that. But it's those kind of guys, they can't do that. They can't. And it's not all it's cracked up to be, is all I have to say. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
How do you continue to elevate both in and out of the octagon?
For me, I think the biggest thing is the way I see myself. People are like, oh my God, you're the greatest. You're this, you're that, you're the best. But I don't see myself that way. I still see myself as the rookie who was getting into this and said, okay, I'm going to be good at that. How do I become good at that? And each and every time I'm working and I'm training, I'm trying to be better at something. I still feel that way. And I try not to get ahead of myself, because everyone goes, oh man, you're 10 fights in a row. You're about to break this record or that record. I don't worry about that. I worry about the next guy. Because if I'm able to take care of the next guy and the next guy and the next guy, guess what? Those records will pile up. And so that's where I put my focus in. I never worry about the overall. I worry about the steps right in front of me. And I think over time, I didn't choose to be where I am. I didn't necessarily choose that. I think that obviously there's a higher power that put me in a position to where now I am in that place to where people can see me and draw inspiration from me as I drew inspiration from the wrestlers or the fighters before me. And so I'm blessed. And now knowing that I am part of that group, I definitely understand it. And I do not take it for granted because I understand and I know that with great power does come responsibility. And I am fully aware of that. And I am trying to be responsible and knowing that there are others that look up to me that want to be in the position that I want to be in. So I need to be able to show them how to do it gracefully.
Dude, I had no idea what to expect with you. I've seen your post-fight interviews and you come off very thoughtful and articulate, but obviously the adrenaline's coming through you. But to see how humble and relaxed and articulate you are, you have such an incredible career of broadcasting ahead of you. You are going to be perfect for TV. And I'm sure there are probably already people approaching you around that, but you just have a great personality, man. And your success is, I mean, you're an absolute monster. And I love watching you fight. And I love the MMA in general, but in the UFC, but I remember when I saw your last few fights, I'm like, this guy's going to be one of the GOATs, and congratulations on all of your success. It's really incredible to see what you're doing, man.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled by your words and I'm more than appreciative of them. So thank you so much.
You're welcome back anytime. Good luck with the next fight, whoever it is. Oh, before I let you go, your thoughts on Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather?
It's a circus, but at the end of the day, that's the world that we're in now. People just want to be entertained. And so these guys are doing the best they can. I mean, it's the perfect era, perfect time for them. We're going through something that we've never really seen, a pandemic, people being locked up, people just wanting to be entertained in their life. And here comes the YouTubers. They're here to entertain. And it's received very well. I do believe as a competitive standpoint, I mean, Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers that we're going to ever see in our time. And so for him to now just want to just entertain the masses, I love it. More power to him. If I'm put in that position, would I do the same thing? For the amount of money he's making? Probably. I would definitely do the same thing. So yeah, more power to them. It's great for entertainment, great to entertain the people. I'm definitely going to watch. Now, I don't know if I'm going to buy it. I might go to a friend's house who's buying it, but I'm definitely going to watch it for sure.
What do you think the result is? Let me get a prediction from you.
Floyd's just too good at this to where I think, I mean, if anything, he knows how to be able to not get hit, which has been his specialty for over 25 years. So as long as he does that, I think he takes it.
Awesome. Kamaru, it's been a pleasure, man. You're welcome back anytime, man.
Thank you. I appreciate this. I really do.